Hi, Donna. This is April Biss. I'm looking at your submission for this discussion, and I just wanted to give you some things to kind of think about going forward. Okay, so right now I'm opening up your AI file, and the reason why this is pink is because I do not have the font, which is fine because I wanted to talk to you about that anyway. How you have everything set up here is great. You have your RGB, CMYK. What you might want to do is bump your, because typically how you read this would be RGB, and then CMYK would be on the next line over. So just go ahead and bump those down so that they're easy to follow. CMYK, RGB. So just bump the C to the next line. Very easy to do. Just hit return right before the C, and that way it's easier to follow. Okay, so everything looks good color-wise. I just wanted to give you some feedback on the logo itself. I think that, you have some elements coming together here, but you can definitely get this to be a stronger logo. I'm just going to go ahead and look at your black and white variation to give you that feedback. The square around here is very, I don't know, it's just very conservative looking. And for this type of a brand, you want it to be light and airy. You don't want to have so much confined areas of your elements. You don't want it to be boxed in. You want it to be light and airy looking. So I would take off that box altogether. I would also kind of look for typefaces that will better align with your client. Baskerville is a great font, for example. It's a very classic font. The one that you have is okay, but look for something that's going to elevate it a little bit more. You can even look up logos. There's Bodini is a good one, very classic. You can also look online. For instance, there are free websites that you can look online that are free fonts. Let me see if I can grab one here. You can see, share my desktop. So this is 101 fonts. So I would type in upper crust and you can kind of take a look. Let's say you want to look up something. It's kind of cool, Font Kong. This one looks kind of neat, so feathery. You want to make sure that it's easy to read. And then you can pick your category in here. So like say decorative, you can click on that. You can check out everything that is under that particular category. Let me look up handwriting. That one's a good one too. And pick one that is, aligns with this one's actually kind of nice, and Nella Sue with the actual brand and is easy to read. Let's go ahead and do this one at the very bottom. Just click download. You're just going to download this. It'll go into your downloads folder, open up that folder, and then just double click on the TTF or the which is True Type font or Open Face type font. It might be. Remember the name, so Nella Sue or Jenna Sue, and then go back to your document. Nella Sue, I think it was, yeah. All right, and there we go. Now, another thing is your overall hierarchy. Right now, if you were to scale this down really small, say for a postage stamp size, which could be, obviously you're going to be scaling this down very small for your envelope going forward. Look how hard it is to read. So you want to scale this down so it's proportionate. You want your name to be bigger and your mark to be smaller. So go ahead and make this larger. Oops, actually, let me take my type tool. Okay, and we're going to make this larger. Much larger. And I'm going to bump bakery down to the next line. And I'm even going to make this a different font altogether. Something that is it's going to be more neutral looking. It's not going to have, oh, that's a nice one, actually, the bakery. You might want to use that one. Angelina personally, I actually like that better. Let me use this one, Angelina personal use. Okay, so bakery would be, you know, maybe more like a condensed font. Let me bring up my type character box. And you can also do all caps. If you click on the upper right-hand corner of that palette, you can adjust the capital letters and then make this smaller. This is should be smaller, should be less emphasized because it is secondary to the name. And then just bring that back up to your, you know, the leading space in between, which is right here. Your leading is right here. Adjust that so it's not too far away from the name. Okay. And then make the mark smaller, which is, this is the mark. You would just make this smaller to fit in with the name because that will balance it out. Okay. Now, what you have to be really careful too is you want to make sure that the mark style is very similar or, you know, aligns with the brand too. See how whimsical this is looking? You want to make sure that this doesn't look too out of place. And it's great that you're, you know, working with the pen tool here. So now I need you to just go in here and zoom in and just take out any type of points that don't need to be here. So what I mean by that is when I click on this, you'll see my white arrow. See how many points there are there? Those are your anchor points. The less amount of anchor points, the more smooth your line work will be. So go ahead and take the delete anchor point. So it should show like a negative sign. And go in here and delete some points that are not quite needed. And I'll show you how to make a curve because it looks like you don't have any curves here. Take the direct selection tool again. If you missed that, just go ahead and grab it again. And just delete as many as you can, keeping the form. Delete, delete, delete. And I'll show you how to make this much smoother looking. Okay. So with that being said, now go under your pen tool and find the anchor point tool. It should be Shift and C if you can't find it. It looks like a little upside down V. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. With that tool selected and with your anchor showing, you want to click on your actual anchor point, click and drag. And what that's going to do is going to bring out these handlebars. And once you have these handlebars, take your direct selection tool and now you can position these so that you are creating this nice rounded shape. See how that is like nice and rounded? So we can make this rounded and let's pull this. You can also pull your anchor points away. I'm going to click and drag this one so we can get a nice little rounded section there. And you can kind of play around with this. You can move your anchor points if you need to. You can still delete some if you think you don't need them. But pull these out, play around with the anchor points so you kind of get the idea and the gist of how these work. I'm going to delete this one because I don't think we need it. Direct selection tool will help you drag these line points out. See how much smoother this line is? Now that, you know, now I can kind of play around with the shape of this. And I'm going to, just for now, just to delete these so we're out of my way here for a second. Add the Bezier curve handlebars here too. I'm probably going to delete that one. I don't think we need that one. And if you need to add points, you can, like say if you wanted to add one here, you can go to your pen tool. There should be an add pen tool here. Hold on. If you don't see the add pen tool, click on the three dots at your toolbar, edit toolbar, And all you need to do is click and drag this in. And there you go. Same with your, subtract as well. Click on that again. And you can add your anchor point there. And you can kind of play around with this, kind of add it, play around with the shape again. I think cupcakes are a little bit more shaped a little differently here. You can even do like a little doo-wop at the top, just by swinging this in a little bit. If you want it to be sharp, pull this one in. You can have a nice little curve there. So just play around with this and, like I said, just delete any anchor points that are not needed because the less amount, the smoother this will be. I'm just going to delete these. That looks like you have double layers here. Let me take that off. Let's get this to where it needs to be. There. Okay. So this would be the bottom of your cupcake. This would be the top. And then what you can do is you can add, you could do something really cool like this where you're just adding these lines in. I'm just copying and pasting this. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Spread these out a little bit more here. Use your align tool and just select all of these. Hold down your shift key to select all. And we're going to space these out evenly. We're going to go up to window and align. And all you need to do is choose this one, which is vertical align. And then what we want to do is distribute centers. And then we can shift it over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these. And I'm going to bring these down just a little bit. And then I would probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Maybe shift these so that they're going another way. So if you go to your rotate tool, I'm going to do a reflect. I reflect it vertically. It's a little advanced, but you kind of get the idea. Another thing that you can do is play around with your width of your lines. So see, the stroke is black. We can change this so that your stroke, if you go up to window and hit stroke and go to more options, you can change your stroke width, point size. I would do it similar to your font size, and then you can also change your profile. So this will change the width of your stroke. So it might give you a really nice aspect to your logo that your mark that you're looking for that will make it look, more variated in width. See how that kind of changed it a little bit? And you can do the same thing with these lines if you would like to play around with that. See, I guess it's the first one I chose. So very simple. You can even add just a little medium line there. And I'm just putting in just a small detail in here, which would be the cupcake bottom. And let's bring these down just a little bit. So just refining your cupcake so that it looks very similar to your, similar in style to your your font, which is, you know, kind of just giving you that flair. Giving that extra flair that it needs. Okay, so very simple, yet, you know, you don't have to do these details like I did if you're not quite getting to that point, but, you know, refine this so that the mark reflects the thickness of your type. It reflects the same kind of style. Make sure these are centered. There we go. Make sure that your name is bigger than your mark. Bakery can be secondary. Make sure it locks in very nicely together. And then you can see if you put that side by side, how much, you know, how much stronger that is, especially if you scale it down to a smaller size, you can still read it. This one, it would definitely be harder to read. All right, well, I hope this helps.